One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Sorry for the late start. Mercury's always in retrograde during this time, and so it was a little bit not wanting to connect, but we made it here. Good morning to you. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. Cheers to you on this early Monday morning, wherever you may be, whether it's Monday morning, Monday afternoon, or Monday evening. Just seems, everything seems hectic, doesn't it? Everything seems a little bit out of whack. So, and it makes sense because we just went through a full moon, blue moon, which is all about new beginnings. We're Mercury retrograde, we've got a national little thing called politics, which I'm going to be talking about today, because today's message is really about politics, peace, and souls to the polls. I'm a big fan of democracy. I don't really get caught up in political factions, but I know a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people, both in the country and out of the country, on what's going on with us here in America. And it's the day before a national election, and I just want to, pray for peace. I want to pray for stability. I want to pray for civility. I want to pray and hold intention for bringing people together, not divide. Now, a lot of you who follow my work know that I've talked about this for almost a year now, as far as where we're at this moment. When I did my psychic predictions, almost a year ago now, I guess it would be January 8th. I talked about the Roaring 20s and what the Roaring 20s were going to be for us. Great transformational change, tearing down old ways of being to build new ways of being. And the 4 words that I've talked about is the great coming together, homeostasis, sustainability, and self-mastery. And as we prepare to move into a national election, politics has impacted my life, to be honest with you, with this COVID-19. Not so much the rhetoric that's out there and stuff you see on social media and news, but it has impacted my life. And so this morning's show, I just wanted, as I sit in meditation back here, I was just thinking, well, let's hold space for peace. Let's hold space to go out and vote. Please go out and vote. It's important regardless of who you vote for. It is a right. It is a sacrifice that many have given to us. I'm going to read a little passage from this little book, which is my Bible of politics, called The Constitution of the United States. And I just want to hold intention for a peaceful national election. But not only just, we always talk about the national election. I'm kind of excited when we went and dropped our ballot off at the ballot box the other day. There was actually a lot of people. It was inspiring to see people excited for their civic duty. Now, again, civics is different than politics. Civics is getting involved to make a change. Politics, I'm not sure what politics are today. It seems to create a lot of divide, a lot of ideologies. We are seeing the country separate on ideologies, of course. But at the end of the day, for me, politics is morals in action, really. And, if I speak out against what I see as an immoral act or something that's just, demeaning, not kind, caring, and compassionate, people want to label you being on the other side. That's not the truth with me. That's not, you don't know how I am or who I vote for. But I always will speak truth to power. I always will speak up for, when you have a moral obligation to speak up to, when you see something that's wrong, you have that moral obligation to say something. See something, say something. We're trained that way. Even when you fly on something, if you see something, say something. So we're going to be moving back to the 4 words that I saw in my predictions: the great coming together, sustainability, homeostasis, and self-mastery. That's where I see this all going. I know 2020 has been a hell of a year for all of you guys, myself included. Great transformations. I've learned a lot about myself. I've observed others. I've observed what others stand for. And, and I've had to, really step up into, my spiritual pathways of where I want to go. Now, I know some of you probably don't want to hear this, but this is something that I posted the other day, and this is something that I find to be really true. If you find that people's words do not match their actions, that is called what we would call manipulation. When you are refusing to be held accountable for your actions and your words, this is called gaslighting. We're getting to see it at such many different levels. And I believe that's why we're going to have a shift to come, this great coming together, starting tomorrow. So let's move into the magic of the moment. Thank you for being here with me today. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. This is Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. It's my inspiring show for the week to get you started off on the right foot, the right attitude, encouragement, motivation, inspiration. And I just want to say thank you for being here on today's show. The passage I want to read, and I usually don't talk about politics, guys, on my shows. I don't. I kind of leave that to my personal space. But given everything that's going on, that's impacting a lot of people from around the world, I just felt like in today's meditation that I needed to just talk about peace, politics, and what I call souls to the polls. It's important to have a voice. It's important to have democracy. It's important to, again, vote for your ideologies, but vote for your way of life, of course. But at the same time, it's important because a lot of people have given their lives. They've sacrificed. I'm a veteran. I raised my right hand to defend this little thing called the Constitution. And, it's important to move forward because freedom is not free. And, democracy is messy. Democracy has been messy for years, hundreds of years. Even when the founding fathers started this country up, it was messy. People have different ideologies, but it's working. It's a test that's working. And I'd like to see that test continue. So as we go to the souls to the polls, is what I like to say, to vote your consciousness, to vote your moral code, and to vote because it's important that you have a voice, because when the people speak, that is where things can align. This is where I can do what I can do as a medium, as a spiritualist, as a psychic. We go back 150, 200 years ago, I'd be, have to be, silent, or if I came out, I'd be burned at the stake for what I, talk about and what I say. But This book was written several years ago. This book was given to me by a family member back in 1965. This book was published in this edition. It's called The Constitution of the United States, its sources and its application. And when I was reading and meditating this morning, this popped out. I just want to read this with you real quick. And it just shows you the times haven't really changed to where we're at. So let me just make sure everything is broadcasting okay and that we have a live feed. 2 comments here. Hopefully the sound quality is okay. Yeah, okay, so there's the sound. I was just making sure I had good sound quality. So this is the preface of this book, The Constitution of the United States. In this era of worldwide social and political change, it behooves us as never before to know the fundamentals of our Constitution, which in times of stress, as well in peace, has provided the American people with a more enduring and practical government and a greater degree of prosperity than any other people have ever had. That's the preface. All men are created equal in the Constitution. You'll notice in the Constitution, it doesn't talk about political factions supporting one side or the other. In George Washington's farewell speech, when he gave up power as our first president, he didn't have to. He could have held on to power as long as he wanted because there was no constitutional amendment for how long a president could serve at that time. And he said his biggest fear was the political factions that would tear this country apart. And we're witnessing this right now, real time, guys. We're witnessing political factions at a level I've never seen before. It is actually quite alarming to me. But at the same time, I believe in us, the people, as Americans, to come together, and what I've seen the great coming together. Because when I did my psychic predictions at the beginning of this year, and I've been talking long about this, about a possible cold civil war, separation of the United States because of ideologies. That is still a possibility with where we're going. But I want to today's show set the intention for peace, politics, and souls to polls, and to be able to have that higher perspective of seeing another ideology from a different view. We all sit at the table of life and we all have different viewpoints and we have different belief systems. But at the end of the day, it's about respect. It's about civility. And like I said, I was excited to see so many people when we dropped off our ballots, because we voted on Saturday, to see so many people in line to see the inspiration and the action of your civil duty to support the country, not a political faction, not a person, whether you're left or right or center. I tend to be, when I'm speaking out against things that I don't agree with, based on moral code, people are like, oh, you must be a liberal. And I'm like, well, no. Oh, you must be a conservative. Well, no, I'm a moderate constitutionalist. This is my application right here. This is what I follow because this is the oath I took to defend and to honor and to respect the Constitution, which in this application does talk about respecting Americans. And we need to respect each other. We need to come together and we need to be able to vote and have difference of opinion, but also be able to agree to disagree without divide, without name calling, without bullying, without gaslighting, without narcissistic behavior. We had to go through this, you guys, in my predictions, because the only way that we're going to move forward and move up and evolve with our species is to go through some pretty difficult times. You can't have the rainbows without the rain, as the old saying goes. So this morning, I just wanted to set the intention, and I hope that you'll join me here in the Healing Cafe, which will start at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please share out the page. Please like the page. Please subscribe to the page. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing, you can go to marclainhart.com, internet search Intuitive Prospector. I hope that you'll join me today, later this morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm going to be doing soul guidance and inspirational speaking. It's the 4th part in our series with my good friend and colleague over in Norway, Remichius Davis Wright. I'll put the link to the events. It's $20 for the session, and it's quite inspirational. And we're going to be talking about this, but I'll go ahead and put the comments in the comment section. I'll put the link as well. But if you just go to marclainhart.com, click on the events page section, and all the tickets are listed there. We've got an upcoming workshop on medley of mediumship at the end of this month. Happy November to you. Thank you to everyone who turned out on Saturday. We had almost 45 people in the Blue Moon with Spirit, where my friend Penny Hayward and I did a demonstration in mediumship. I always love doing that. So thank you to everybody who attended that. Really appreciate that. And if you want to get your ticket to this morning's Soul Guidance and Inspired Messages and Talks, you might even get a free reading with me. So make sure to go over the events page at marclainhart.com, click on that. And then we've already set the schedule for 2021. We're going to be starting in January and going through March with more inspired speakings and soul guidance. So if you're looking for a little soul guidance, this is where you're going to want to go every few weeks. Or every month, once a month. So January, February, March, 2 times in February, 2 times in March. And then we've got one more. Today's November 2nd. And then we've got our last one for this year on November 16th. And then I take the month of December off. So that's my month to just kind of disconnect so I can reconnect to self. I want to let you also know that we have experienced the etheric, which is going to be a very detailed, intimate course with myself and mediumship, and going deeper in the pathways of the etheric plane, the etheric world. More details, that'll be starting in January. If you're interested, just go to, again, marclainhart.com and click on the events tab to get all of your tickets, including the wonderful Paul Jacobs, who will be coming in May. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that we start to get past this COVID, and he'll be here in person in Seattle for a 4-day workshop and a Saturday night demonstration where I get the honor and privilege to dem with such an amazing spiritualist and an amazing medium who I've studied under. So, and then there might be some other cool people coming to Seattle as well, if we can just get past this COVID for in person. So this morning, I wanted to just share that with you about peace, politics, and souls to the polls. Please go out and vote. It's important. It's a right. It's a civic duty. I'm inspired to see so many people turning out. I've done my predictions for what the election is going to turn out to be. And I'm sure I'll get pushback. I know when I did my interview for West Seattle, I gave my predictions with Biden winning the election. Of course, there's already comments listed on that blog post of people that disagree. Again, I'm not coming from a political support. I'm not coming. I looked at the signs. I looked at the astrology. I looked at the stock market, and always follow the money in our world because we're the only species that pays to live here. But I looked at numerology for each candidate. I also just looked at the energy and what I've seen for my prediction. And I do see that the great coming together is going to be a huge turnout for the vote. I do see a big win for Joe Biden. I do see a big win for the Electoral College as well, because we elect our presidents based on the Electoral College, not the popular vote, which is interesting in itself. Because the popular vote, if you go back and look at the history of the popular vote, you'll realize that only one Republican in 32 years has won the popular vote. Any other Republican side has won through the Electoral College, which the founding fathers at the time wanted to make sure that there was a voice for the minority, because otherwise the majority would always elect a president based on the majority vote. So it's important to learn about your civics. It's important to learn about history. It's important to learn about democracy and the Constitution of the United States, because you get to learn that not many things have changed when it comes to politics. From the founding fathers to today, it's just a little bit more up in our face with social media, the news. So I would actually recommend that you probably detach from that. I'm going to be taking probably this next week off to not even interact with social media and get caught up in all that stuff. And we won, you lost. And but I looked at everything. I looked at the energy. I looked at the consciousness. I looked at the astrology, the numerology. Trump is a life path 4 in numerology. Joe Biden is a life path 2 in numerology. The 2 represents peace. The 4 represents dedicated worker and master builder, but it also means things have been torn down to rebuild new. So I took that all into account, and I put that out there before the election. People are going to always disagree and say, you're wrong. And it's not about me being right or wrong. It's just what I've been seeing for this whole year. And I do see a huge, I hate to say it, I feel like this is going to be a blue tsunami tidal wave, seeing so many people turn out. Because at the end of the day, it's the voice of the people. And even though America is changing, America is becoming more diverse, more open. Black Lives Matter. LGBTQ matters. The woman's right to choose matters. But that also falls under the rule of law. And there's going to be still some tough days and months ahead for ideology differences. So I'm just setting today's show for the intent of peace, prosperity, moving forward, civility, kindness, caring, compassion, everything that I have taught on, everything I've talked about this last year. And like I said, this last year has really taught me a lot about myself, how people see me. People see me through a lens. I even had one person literally call me a socialist who wants to see people die. Like literally said that to me. No, it was a socialist. It wasn't nice, put it that way. Who wants to see people die? Obviously, you don't know me. You don't know my work if that's what you think of me. But I will always speak up for those that can't speak up for themselves. I always will stand up to a bully. I will always use that moral obligation to say something when something looks wrong, regardless if you're Republican and or Democrat. I will always speak truth to power, and I will do it in a way that's kind, caring, and compassionate, trying to bring people together from perspective and respect to move forward. Because at the end of the day, the only way we move forward, guys, is together. If we have a zero-sum game, left, right, and we continue this divide, the United States of America will change. And I don't want that for us. I think we've done a lot. We're amazing, and we can respect other people's perspectives. But at the same time, we don't need to be cruel and bully and have words that divide and gaslight. We don't need that. But in order to achieve that, we have to experience it first, right? So I want to give you your numerology number for the week. I'm going to do this just live without shuffling. Healing, look at this, double 66, the healing energy. 66 is healing energy and responsibility. I'm setting the tone for healing and peace. I'm wearing my green shirt today because green is representation of the heart chakra. Green also represents forgiveness and healing itself. I allow my card this week. And again, thank you for all the beautiful card decks that I received. I know I got a few card decks coming, and I will share them on my show. Today's card is, excuse me, I allow myself to be happy with all aspects of my physical being. So the all seeing eye, I always remind people we have 3 eyes to see, 2 to look, 1 to see right here. And I think and feel as we move forward after this is all over, that we're going to start to see more here versus here. And we're going to start to have consciousness in a form of enlightenment and evolution is what I see for us, the great coming together. So I'm sure if I'm wrong, I'm sure people will have a way of finding to let me know that I was wrong. But I will trust and I will feel, because that's what I do. And I see a brighter future. I see great days ahead, but we still have some dark days ahead of us. So your totem animal spirit for this week, for ask for what you want, the lion. Ask for what you want this week, and that includes your vote. It's interesting that I pulled this card with the butterfly, which represents transformation and metamorphosis, but the lion card as well, in the fact that ask for what you want, vote for what you want. Don't be the change you want to see in the world, vote the change you want to see in the world, because again, in my opinion, voting is morals and actions, and everybody has a different set of morals. But at the end of the day, it is the voice of the people, of we the people, not certain pockets or cults or political factions that make a difference. So again, setting the intention for peace, politics, souls to the polls. Let's come together. Let's vote our consciousness. Let's make a difference. Let's start moving forward in a happy, healthy, joyful way, a way of consciousness. And I want to read a passage from a cool book that it's so deep. You can see how thick it is. It's a deep read. I've been reading this for years. Dr. Wayne Dyer turned me on to this. And I just want to read from a chapter of it that kind of stood out during my meditations. And it says this: when one has attained wisdom through self-effort and with the help of the company of the holy ones, whatever the holy ones are for you, your belief system, this world appearance does not expand in his consciousness. Notions arise in one's consciousness, and when a counter notion is raised, the former undergo radical mutation. And what I mean by that, of course, I've got my ticket stub from the San Francisco Seahawks game. Go Seahawks, 6-1. But what it means by that is we're about to go through a great transformation. We're about to go through a great mutation, just like this. That I talked about this on many shows this year with my podcast interviews I've done with Best American Psychics for Metaphysical Minds. I've talked about the global reset, the global pause, the great coming together, and that the caterpillar requires a season of isolation before it becomes the butterfly. And that's where we're about to emerge as the butterfly of transformation, mutation. And so I thought that section of the book kind of jumped out at me, and I wanted to share that this morning. So we're going to get ready for the Healing Cafe. Thank you for joining me this morning on a more civic, understanding civics, your civil duty to vote. Please go out and vote, vote, vote. I'll be later on this morning with Soul Guidance and Inspirational Speaking. If you want to join us, it'll be here in the Zoom platform as well. Just go over to marclainhart.com, click on the events tab, and that's where you can get your tickets to all the upcoming events. And thank you again for everybody who showed up on Saturday. It was such a fun Halloween event to do demonstrations of mediumship on Halloween, full blue moon, just a lot going on in the world. So the blue moon is also a reset. It's a cleansing and it's a letting go. So happy fall to you. Happy November to you. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in to today. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And I'll see you next Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Let's get ready for the Healing Cafe. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.